going to be in one take. It was like this whole monologue that I had to learn, and it was intense.
Monologues are rough.
So like I'm like practicing this thing like crazy. I'm like trying to like read all of this, and like the director's telling me, it's like, oh, like I want it to be like really like psychological. I want to get into like philosophy, like look up philosophy stuff, and I was
Wait,
just
he
like,
wanted you to write it and perform it?
yeah, pretty much. I mean,
oh, that's bullshit.
No, but
that's what they call an art film,
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
basically I get all these lines, and then I'm like learning about all this philosophy and stuff. I'm like, I bought a thing on Audible. It was like all this like just random like philosophy, and I would just like listen to that every night and like learn these lines. And I get there, and he's just like, oh yeah, so we're just gonna like cut like most of it, just keep like these two parts, and then say whatever else you want. And I was just like,
that's
okay.
Was this a mumblecore film? Or what was it?
It was GX Jupiter Larson. He
Okay.
does like art films, and it's just about to come out on DVD, I think.
Oh,
Yeah, I just got a text from him a few days ago, just like, hey, what's your address? I'm gonna send you a DVD.
Oh, that's
And I
great.
was just like, oh, awesome, cool.
Now that nobody has a DVD player anymore,
seriously.
I mean, hell, I stream everything.
Yeah.
So
Why don't you send me a VHS? That'd be better.
Right?
Why don't you just download it to Cody and then I'll watch it? Okay?
Put on vinyl. Everybody's going for that. Now, so you worked at the Venice Beach Freak Show.
Yeah, I did.
Because your friend who encouraged you to grow your beard.
Yeah.
She was what was she? This
Fire Eater.
Fire Eater, okay.
Yeah. Her name is Sunshine English, and when Todd's daughter decided to step away for a little while, Sunshine took over, and she convinced me to join the Freak Show. Well, she convinced me to grow out my beard, and then I slowly like incepted my way in, and like just started going there just to hang out, and like they saw like the progress of like my beard growing, and finally Todd was like,
yeah, was it like the stubble and they're like wait a couple months?
No, it was like the first time I went, I had shaved the day before, but I didn't shave it all that day.
So this was when you were this is the beginning of the embracing.
Yeah, this is the beginning of the embracing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dakota the Peach Fuzz Girl.
Honey, I haven't been Dakota the Peach Fuzz Girl since I was 13.
Oh wow. I noticed you don't have a mustache.
It kind of grows a little bit on the ends, and it's slowly starting to like fill in.
Kind of
and
a snidely whiplash sort of thing.
I'm just sort of letting it let it do its own thing. I'm like, girl, you do you. I'm just gonna like support you.
Have you shaved the upper lip? Is that what do you usually do that or
not? No, I don't. I don't shave the upper lip at all. I trim it, but I don't shave it.
Yeah.
I just sort of let it do its own thing, and it's slowly starting to like creep up towards the middle, and like turn into a real mustache. So I'm sort of like, all right, take your time. It's fine. Just do whatever you want, sweetie. You're doing great.
Right.
Like going all Kris Jenner on my mustache. Just, you're doing great, sweetie. You're doing great. No, but so I went to the Freak Show, and I met Todd, and I met all of them, and I worked there for about 8 months, and it just got to be like a really toxic working environment, so I quit.
Really?
Yeah, it was really toxic working there, and it was
I
just
hear the elephants don't like it in the circus either, so I understand.
Well, I'm not even going to get into that right now, because that is like a whole other conversation.
That one about the elephants?
Yeah, I don't think we do. Yeah, no, I don't think we do. I don't think we do. I'm not even going to get into that. But yeah, working for Todd was just like not great, and
but it was a start, and it was an encouragement.
It was a start. It was encouragement.
And now you're modeling. You were just in New York at the Fashion Week.
Yeah, I did Ashton and Michael's 2018 spring fashion show.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
How did that happen?
I'm signed with a modeling agency.
Okay.
It's called Sandwagon. They're out of New York, and they haven't really been reaching out to me much, which kind of sucks because like I'm under contract, so like utilize me. You know, like I'm the fucking bearded lady. Like fucking utilize me. Mm-hmm. But they called me and they're like, hey, look, like Ashton Michael like wants to like talk to you, and he wants to like look at your stuff and blah blah blah. And I was just like, okay, sure. And so then like we started talking about it, and then we were like, all right, so basically they want you to come out and do Fashion Week. And I was just like, okay. So I met him at his LA store, and he took all my measurements and everything, and we talked for a little while. He showed me video from his last walk, his last Fashion Week, his last show.
Right.
I'm like, I can't word. His last show, he showed me stuff from his last show, and he was just like, it's gonna be a continuation of this. I'm like, what colors are you into? Like from like this palette, and like what are you, like what are you into? And I we started talking for a while, and
you know, hanging out with you as much as I have, it's basically black on black on black. From what I've seen.
Actually,
Which I have the same
really,
palette because I'm colorblind.
I mean, but I really like color though.
Yeah.
Like I do. I just don't buy a lot of it because like a lot of plus size stuff doesn't come in like color. Like it's like the fashion industry just wants us to wear black and like look thin and like hide ourselves in the corners and like not exist. But like the fact of the matter is like the majority of people in America are plus sized, and you know, so it's just like a whole thing. But he actually made this amazing dress for me, and it's got like leather and like it's got like hoops on it, and I got to keep the dress that I wore.
Yeah.
So what was the reaction when you went down the runway?
So we didn't end up doing a runway show.
Oh, okay.
So what we did was we were like hiding in these like little styrofoam rooms. Like literally they had these like styrofoam walls like set up on either side of the stage, and they like set the stage, and it was really pretty. And like they told us where to go, and then like we would like pose and you know let people take pictures of us and everything, and then we would go and like sit down, and like that was how we ended up doing it. And I mean you've seen me when I'm performing, and like I get into like management mode really hard. Like I'm just like, okay, you're up next, and then you're up next, and then you, and then me, and then you, and don't forget your cue, and don't forget to where to stand, and like you know.
She's not kidding. I've seen this.
Great though. It's great.
I do. I'm like total mom friend. So the reaction was pretty interesting. People kind of went crazy, and I loved it. It was great. I mean, but I've got like a crazy ego, so I'm just like, yes, worship me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Finally, the world knows what I've known all along.
Exactly. And then come to find out, I'm actually the first bearded lady to ever do Fashion Week.
Fucking
So
A.
Nice.
I'm gonna be writing to Guinness and being like, hey, where's my plaque?
Yeah.
And hopefully not the last.
Yeah,
I hope it'll
exactly.
be that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, and part of the reason I brought that up because I thought it was a great story.
Yeah.
Is this guy's done some modeling.
Oh
From what
wow.
I
Oh yeah,
understand.
he did. I've seen the photos.
So do tell, Hannah.
Very handsome.
Yeah.
But he's like he was like Tiger Beat looking.
I
back
have
in the
worked
day.
very hard to work against that.
Is this like the house years?
This was actually just after the house years. So when I started acting like out the gate, I booked this like Chevy commercial that was directed by Michael Bay.
Oh my god, I'm up for a Chevy commercial right now.
Yeah, those are fucking great with Dustin.
I don't. All I know is I've auditioned for it, and they've sent me in and submitted me for it and everything. I'm just
All
waiting to
right.
hear from them right now.
I'm gonna text my boy Dustin. He does all the Chevy stuff.
All
Sorry,
right,
Dustin.
awesome.
I'm gonna hit you up.
Yeah.
But still, but he wasn't even the guy who booked me for this. This was like 2006, like way back in the day. Whatever. I'm in the commercial for like a fucking second. I'm literally in the back seat of a car and like in Elvis shades, and I'm like, oh, and I look at this car. It's so lame. It's so lame. And this was like the...
It's so lame I paid your rent for a year and a half.
Dude, no joke, it was 2006. That was before everything went, like, digital. Yeah. Like, when I started acting, couriers would bring your sides to you every day. They didn't even email you shit.
Wow.
Like, dude, it was, you know, this is pre-internet taking over. Like, people were still like, computers, I don't like them things, you know? It wasn't anywhere close to it.
Still like that.
Well, yeah, so do I. But like, not like, okay, so whatever, I out the gate, I kind of like did really well for myself. And then I started, like, that commercial gig pays. Theatrical gigs only pay you like $800 a day when you're SAG. So you get like that. So I was on House where I shot one day.
Yeah.
I got paid like $900 for that one day.
Nice.
That fucking Chevy commercial, I made like 80 grand off of.
What?
No joke. I was like 23 years old. I was so dumb. I was a little dude buying bottles. I was like, I'm rich, you know, like, you know, I was so dumb. Literally, my agents were like, fuck it, this is just the start, baby. Like, go to town. Yeah, till the fucking tax man came around and fucking I owed 10 grand.
Yeah.
But still, like that was like dope like right off the bat. But then like theatrical stuff, I didn't really like nail anything. Commercial stuff I wasn't really nailing. I was nailing the theatrical stuff. So I was like, I was hurting. Like, I mean, that 80 grand was dope, but I was also like couch surfing at the time in Echo Park, like paying nothing for rent. Like, I was balling, but like I didn't even buy a new car. I had 80 grand. I had like $69,000
You
in
didn't
my
even
bank.
buy a Chevy.
I didn't buy a Chevy. Sorry, more